Yo, what is up, Bakery, and welcome back to the YouTube video. Today, we have a full centering masterclass going over how to center properly, how to center more consistently, what centering is in general, and also a few aiming tips that you may need and how to warm up with or without Modern Warfare 3. Let's get into it. Okay, so I've went ahead and loaded us into a Plunder game, and we're going to get straight into it. What is centering? I mean, thinking about centering, you probably realize that it has to do with keeping your crosshair centered. And this is it's a tip from any FPS game. If you've ever played a first-person shooter, this is something that you need to do properly in order to ensure consistent gunfights. And it really is as simple as keeping your crosshair level, kind of where people will peek out from. You know, that's the number one thing to learn about centering is, you know, if somebody's going to come out from this door, your crosshair needs to be on that door, because when they've come out, you don't have to do much readjusting to the target. And that's the biggest thing. When I do a lot of spectating, sometimes, you know, I'll die, whatever, I'll spectate them, and I see people running around like this. And this is, you know, you can run however you want to run if there's no one around you. You know, if you pop a UAV, you know there's no one around, you know, you're on your phone, you're running around, that's fine. You know, you don't have to be centered all the time. But if you know you're about to get into a gunfight and you're centered on the ground like this, that is a very, very big no-no. Because, you know, take for example, there's someone behind this wall and I'm running up. If I run up like this and then have to come up and find my target with my crosshairs, that wastes a lot of time. I mean, that's like half a second wasted where they're already shooting me 2, 3, 4 bullets in me before I even find my target, you know? But as opposed to, imagine I'm coming around this corner and I come around, I swing it, and I'm on them. I'm shooting them before they're even brought their crosshair up in the same way. And that's the number one thing to learn for this video. I mean, if you're going to be pushing someone, you need to have your crosshair on that target. I will say though, centering, and after this, we're gonna look at a few clips and kind of show yes and no's and do's and don'ts with centering, because you don't always have to be right on target. You know, if I know that there's no one around here, why would I run around like all goofy, all crazy, try hard, and cornering everything? I know that this building's unlooted, and so you don't have to be really, really crazily involved until it's like furthering the end zone and you know that someone could be in a building or not. But a good example here is this building right here. If you've played a lot of Urzikstan and you know your drop spot super well, then you probably know the building layouts where you drop. But take, for example, this building. Do you know what the inside of this building looks like just from, you know, looking at the building? Because I've played so much, I know what the building looks like. So when I swing inside of this door, I'm going to look to the left, find that door on the far left, and center that. And that's because I know I've just played so much. And in playtime and knowing building layouts is a massive part of centering, because imagine you're walking into this building with no prior knowledge of the building layout. You know, imagine someone's chasing me, I run in, you know, we've already ran into a wall here. But if you know what the building layouts look like, you know where to check. You know, on this far right side, there's like a cash register, so I'm gonna swing that could be laying on the ground. There's things that can help you out with centering, and a lot of that is knowing the building layout and just having a good idea of where people could be in a building as opposed to not. But overall, keep your crosshair headshot level, or rather chest level, and in this game you really don't want to do headshot level too much because it's not an insta-gib game. You're not going to be one-tapping people. I would really recommend keeping your crosshair at around that chest level. When you come around a corner, you know, you're in that chest level, and you don't always need to be aiming down your sights, because imagine someone's laying on the ground, someone comes around the corner, you're going to miss them if you're aiming down sides like this. But you could just, you know, keep your crosshairs down and then ADS when you need to. So let's go ahead and look into a couple clips. We got some clips to review today, and let's find out the do's and don'ts for centering. Okay, for our first clip, I've got one that I took actually just before this. I took one specifically for this cause, and so let's go ahead and just see. I land in, and there's a couple teams over here, they're fighting. I've got this one dude, we're gonna just kill him real quick, and then I find a swarm on the ground, and we're gonna go absolutely wild with this. But this clip is super good because it just shows the basics of centering and how it could do to, you know, basically boost the performance of your gameplay, your clips, stuff like that, and just overall existence in the Warzone, you know. And right here you'll see, I'm gonna just pause a few times here. When I'm looking, wherever I'm looking, like right here, I'm looking directly through the fence, I'm keeping my stuff at that body level, because if anyone peeks around the corner, and you will see they will peek around the corner, it's a lot easier to just snap and shoot them as opposed to finding your target slowly and then shoot them when they come around. So you'll see right here, I try to keep my crosshair low when I'm laying down, because if I keep it too high, I could miss someone if they were to, you know, say crouch around a corner or crawl around a corner. That's when my crosshair is kind of low when I'm laying down myself. Hear a couple people on that right side. That guy comes around, easy shots there. Crosshair's already where it needs to be. That guy makes a dive, easy plays, and I go ahead and recenter right here on this target. You see, I'm aiming at complete mid-body level. The only way a person could come around my crosshair on that side near the dumpster is if they were to lay down prone and crawl, which I would probably hear them. But make sure your crosshair's in a good spot, and it is, so I find my target very easily as opposed to taking multiple seconds to snapping to them. Get my full there, and I know there's one more. I can actually hear him talking in game on that right side there, so when we're gonna move up on him, and keep in mind, crosshair, keep him nice and chill, because the closer to where a person could peek you keep your crosshair, the easier it is to kill them. Look at how I'm coming around this corner right here. My crosshair is directly where a person would be if I do cross this corner, and they're not there. But crosshair is still in a spot that would be dominant coming around this corner. You don't have to change it up too much. That's exactly how it should be. Centering's looking really good right there. Right here, again, crosshair's already on my target. And keep in mind, you will have to find your target a little bit where you'll have to snap to a target or whatever. But the closer you keep your centering to the target, the easier it will be to find your target after that. You know, you're not having to make drastic snaps or anything like that in order to shoot your enemies. Easy shots right there. He comes through the doorway. We're already centered where he could be. Now, right here, when you center directly on that, you know that they're going to cross right here in this window. If they do cross, you're probably not going to crouch under it. But keeping your crosshair where it is right there on the screen makes it super easy. When they do cross, your crosshair's already there. Hit him a few times, comes around this corner, and makes it really easy to clean up. But that's just overall keeping your crosshair super consistent, keeping it where it needs to be, and just overall not laziness. Now, a lot of the times, and I'll show a clip right after this, it's super easy to get lazy in your gameplay, which is completely fine. So let's just go ahead and take a glance at that and talk about the do's and don'ts. Okay, so this is clip number 2, and this one's a little bit shorter. We're going to be talking about principles here and less about the clip. So we'll go ahead and roll the clip, and we'll watch it real quick, and then we'll go back through it. And if you don't catch anything from it, you don't catch anything from it. And this is where you could learn. I mean, I didn't even get this kill, but this is a very good example of balancing laziness and practicability. Is that a word? Practical? You get what I'm saying. You know, when I'm running and doing other things, like you'll see, I look over to chat, I'm reading chat, doing whatever, making mouth trumpet noises. My centering doesn't have to be amazing. I know I'm not getting into a gunfight right now because my teammate is fighting the enemy. So he's up on the front lines fighting the enemy. I'm running towards him. You don't have to be completely cracked and centered all the time. You know, that's almost trying too hard. But it is very good to know that you could balance trying and not trying too hard to kind of find this perfect oasis of just good centering and balancing your gameplay. So when I'm running up this hill, my aim is directly in the ground because I know I'm not fighting a guy yet. But as soon as I see an enemy on my screen, I instantly like cock up and get ready for the gunfight. And my crosshair finds that enemy super fast. So this is being practical. This is being realistic. You don't always have to be on your target completely like I was in that last clip, because in that last clip, I was being completely not lazy. You know, if you're trying your hardest, you know, if you need to have a banger, if you really want to have a good game, then you could center properly the full game and reap the benefits. But it is also very exhausting, and it's not realistic to be centering all the time exactly right. And so this is one of those cases where you could kind of balance danger with the non-danger and find your targets when you need to, as opposed to finding them all the time and wasting all of your brain juice, you know? And so let's go ahead and get into our next clip. We'll kind of show this again and kind of explain, you know, again, the do's and don'ts. I am mid-recording this video, and I swear it is a cat meetup in my room right now, bro. Look at this. There's like a grooming session happening behind my monitor here. Guys, I'm trying to teach them how to center. All right, listen, let's just get in this next clip, okay? So in this clip, this is another one that's less about the kill and more about the principles here. So we'll run the clip just like we did the last one and kind of just talk about what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. So seed, find my target, kill my target, and as a viewer or a player in general, if you were to be spectating me here or watching, it's really easy to let these principles and stuff go by. And that's why I really do like making videos like this, because we could take the time to learn from stuff to where, you know, you could start showing consistency. Because when you look at this kind of stuff and it just happens, you don't really know what's going on, and it's nice to kind of break it down. So in this clip, you'll notice that there was a previous UAV up, and so I knew there was people around around me, and then once I got close, no more UAV up, but I could hear the enemies on my left and on my right. And so what I do here is I break a window, but don't go through it to kind of distract them a little bit. So I break that window, which ends up making the enemy think that, you know, I'm going to come out that window. So he goes and gets out in the open, and then I kill him like you saw earlier. But right now, obviously my crosshair is not in a spot, and I am in transition period. Like you'll see, I'm moving my crosshair around, but you'll see my crosshair is not directly on mid-torso level, and I know that because I'm using the audio to my advantage, and I know that there's not someone near me because I don't hear anyone near me. I hear the guy out in the open, and so I'm kind of almost pre-centering my opponent that I'm going to be fighting here in 2 seconds, even though I still have to make a trek to my opponent. So we'll break down exactly what I just said there right after we kill this guy. So find my target there, and I'm already shooting him, but it's the setup process that actually made that kill so easy to get, because when I'm inside the building, I am looking into the ground and not centering where I need to be if there was somebody in the building. Instead, I'm actually centering on the opponent that I know I'm about to be fighting, because I can hear him off to the right side inside the, you know, whatever he's at. He's on the patio or on the ground, whatever he's doing down there. But, you know, my centering right here makes it very easy to find my target because I've allowed myself some open area to where my gun's not involved. So my crosshair is kind of floating. That's what I would call this. There's not an official word for this. I would call this floating your crosshair. When you chow and you leave your crosshair off to the side a little bit, kind of moving it around at the same time, to make it easier to find your opponent. If my crosshair was in the middle of the screen and my gun was blocking the enemy, it would make it a lot easier to find my target because he's behind the gun. He probably would even kill me there. So this is a very good principle. Floating, I've just made that term, so that may not be the right term. Maybe that's already a term. But in this case, we're gonna call it floating, where I find my target very easily because I've swung that corner, floated a little bit, and then we're right to him. You can see my crosshair. I know this clip isn't in the best quality. I ripped this straight from the stream, but my crosshair is directly on my opponent within a couple, I mean, I don't know how many milliseconds that was. Deuce, can we roll a timer? But yeah, I mean, again, this is the type of things that can easily be missed. And even for me, it's nice to go back to kind of analyze what exactly I'm doing right or doing wrong so that you could do it again or not do it again. If that makes any sense. So I hope you understand centering. Let's go ahead and get into aiming a little bit and kind of just show you guys how to make your aiming a bit more consistent while we're on the topic of aiming and centering. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the aiming category of the video, and this is good for controller or keyboard and mouse players. So I went ahead and loaded up Modern Warfare 3. Now, if you don't have Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer, this part will not apply to you. However, I'll give a fix or a kind of routine that you could do without having multiplayer right after this section. So I'm gonna have sections in this video. You could just click past this section. But if this does apply to you, what I'm doing right now is setting up a free-for-all match against bots. Now, the only thing with this match setup I would say that matters a lot, I'm doing this on shipment because it's a small map, and for my custom game rules, the number one thing to do is make sure that your max health is on 300 health points. That is the same amount of health that you have in Warzone. You have 150 for plates, and you have 150 for your base health, making 300. And the other thing that you need to make sure that you're doing in the top right here is when you're adding your bots, put them on the recruit difficulty. Making them higher difficulty doesn't really matter because I said this in the last setting video and I'll say it now. It doesn't matter if the bots are shooting or not. Honestly, I would like to make it to where the bots don't have guns. I'm not quite sure how to do that. I'm not that advanced, but it doesn't really matter. Recruit's fine because it doesn't matter how the bots are shooting you. It matters if I'm getting warmed up or not. And with the bots shooting me or not, I'm going to be getting warm, you know? And so it doesn't matter if the bots are shooting at you or not. I'm just going to go ahead and throw 6, 7 bots on, and that should be perfect here for the match. So let's go ahead and load up and kind of give a guide of how this works when we're in game. Okay, so we're loaded up, and it doesn't really matter what guns you're going to be using. I've got an MCW class and a rival class, and these are actually multiplayer classes. I will say, though, it's probably smart if you would take a gun from Warzone. So we'll go ahead and do that because that would be the best thing. And right now, the Striker 9 is actually meta. And if you want that build, that's quick on the screen here. But the Striker 9, we'll go ahead and use that because that is the meta in Warzone right now. But you just run around, and keep in mind, you're going to try to stay nice and centered here and just find your targets. And there's no right or wrong. Like, you know, if warm up how you want to, you know what I mean? And it doesn't really matter if you're knifing them or not, you know, that's not really giving you a good warm up. But the biggest thing is to make sure that you're not only aiming correctly, but keeping centered where the opponents are going to be. Because if your aim is already where the opponents are going to be, you'll find it a lot easier to find your targets. And this is just something nice to do. I've been doing this since Modern Warfare 2, and actually Modern Warfare 2019 when that came out for Warzone, but it's a very nice way to get warm. It's a very nice way to keep your aim good and just keep your crosshairs centered in the right spot, because again, you'll get more kills based off of where your crosshairs are. So it's going to be a lot easier to hit your targets, and that's what you'll find here. So this is a great way to warm up if you're on keyboard and mouse or controller, but let's find a way to warm up if you don't have Modern Warfare 3. Now, if you don't have multiplayer, this is most likely what you're going to need to do to get the most consistent warm up all the time. I would recommend that you play Plunder quads. Now, you don't have to load up with a team. You don't have to play the objective, which keep in mind, you probably know what Plunder is, but if you don't, it's getting the most money as you can. The team who gets, I think it's $1 million or $2 million into the game on the spot, they win. It's all about money. But what you can do since you load in with your loadout guns is just go land on people and fight them and get into those close range engagements, get into those far engagements, get into any engagement in general, and that will get you ready for the big map before you actually drop in and have stuff on the line. You could also ever play some LTMs. Currently, they've been running a lot of Rebirth Island limited time modes, which are great for getting those quick reps because you're constantly getting into a gunfight. That will be a little bit harder to play without a team because those do get really sweaty. This loaded resurgence one's pretty cool. The last one that they had, the high trip resurgence, was pretty good, but not a good representation of the stuff that you're going to find in the big map. So if you're looking to warm up for the big map, I would recommend playing Plunder quads. If you're looking to warm up for Rebirth or just Warzone in general, I would recommend the loaded resurgence or just Rebirth Island or smaller maps, Fortune's Keep, Vondel, whichever ones you want to play. That will definitely be a very, very good way to get warm quickly, and that's if you don't have Modern Warfare. If you do have Modern Warfare, just go do that. That's an easier way for any mode, doesn't even matter. I do want to thank you for making it to the end of the video. I really do appreciate that. We're trying a different type of video with this centering one today, not as scripted, not as crazy in that way. I've seen a lot of people wanting just that laid back, chillax type of informational style content, so we're going to try that for the one today. If you do like it, make sure you drop a like and a comment and just let me know what you liked about it. Let me know what you didn't. I do like criticism because this is the type of stuff that I just really enjoy making for you guys. I really am trying to get back into the mix, trying to get these more out for you guys so that there's more content on the YouTube. We've been grinding very, very hard on Twitch recently, but I do want to show the same type of love to you guys, and in the future I'm looking to have at least 2 informational style videos a week, which is definitely the goal that I'm striving towards. But it really does help when you guys subscribe and like and do all that kind of stuff. It really motivates me to have this stuff out and coming. So if you did like the video, again, make sure you like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy yourselves. Bye. I'm mid recording this video, and I swear it is a cat meetup in my room right now, bro. Look at this. There's like a grooming session happening behind my monitor here. Guys, I'm trying to teach them how to sit